on the AI Applied podcast today, all things video. Jaden is obsessed with all this video stuff. I am too, but we haven't really got a chance to play with it yet. But what we do see is this. A couple of huge stories are coming out around Alphabet, aka Google, and Meta are looking at offering Hollywood studios tens of millions of dollars to license a lot of their content. These machines have to learn somewhere, but we are starting to see the results of what they are learning. And Jaden was texting me all morning, have you seen this stuff? Have you seen this video? Blah, blah, something like out of France. I don't know where he finds this stuff. Jaden, what was this, a Sora video? What are you seeing here?
Yeah, okay, so first of all, it's a tweet by Ryan Morrison, so shout out to him if you want to go see this video demo tweet. Super impressive. Essentially, it's a conference called VivaTech, and they were demoing a really interesting new Sora capability with not just Sora, but tying it together with a bunch of other OpenAI, power and tools, features, whatever, and it blew my mind. So essentially, what they did is at the beginning he talked for 15 seconds. Apparently, OpenAI's got the voice cloning thing down pretty well. So he talks for 15 seconds, clones his voice. They have essentially write a prompt where after cloning his voice for 15 seconds, it writes a prompt that writes a script for a short video. It creates the video in Sora, and it's like sort of like a historical voiceover video of talking about like the Eiffel Tower at the World Fair, like way back in the day. And so the video is like impressive. It's cool. It's the Sora videos that we've seen. You'll be impressed by it. But what really impressed me was with a 15-second clip of him talking before, it then cloned his voice, used ChatGPT to write a voiceover for this historical documentary, and then used his voice to actually read that. And then he could switch it into any language he wanted. So it was like with a with a prompt and a 15-second recording of your voice, you can have a voiceover and a full video completely produced. It just blew my mind for YouTube, for movies that we're going to watch, like for everything. It is so crazy.
Yeah, I watched that after you sent it to me, and I think that was my big takeaway as well, just how easy this is. So, I mean, I know we sort of talk about like, oh, everybody's going to become a graphic designer and filmmaker. I don't think we're there yet, only because we don't know what quality looks like. When I work with, my guy Robert Haslam, who's like the great designer and AI and everything like that, like his sense of style and everything is way better. But what you were showing me, Jaden, this morning on that tweet was, especially when you give it fairly basic things like, hey, show me, Paris, back in whatever day, and here's the voiceover, and it can create all that. You can really create things that are pretty visually stunning. And this, again, I know we keep saying this, but it's the worst it's ever going to be. And again, this is what's so interesting about large language model and AI sort of relationships with content creators traditionally, right? So again, Alphabet and Meta, as we said, they're starting to make these deals, and now sort of like studios like Warner Brothers Discovery, they're considering licensing some of their content. We've heard that Netflix and Disney are a little more reluctant, all that kind of stuff. OpenAI is having similar discussions with studios for its Sora generating content. Google, I was just at Google I/O, as I mentioned before. I saw their new tool, Veo, which was absolutely unbelievable. I'm not sure it's Sora level, just like Sora I think is best in class, but it reminds me, Jaden, that one of the big questions we have here is like, what is the future going to be? Like, was it, oh my gosh, anyway, it's sort of like places are sort of like starting to maybe not open studios because they think, oh my gosh, AI is going to change all this. So it's already changing that. And dovetailing into that, Jaden, was this story of OpenAI forming a massive pact with News Corp, which is Wall Street Journal, which is Barron's, which is New York Post, which is all these things. And I'm just starting to wonder, like, what does this do to the content industry? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think with video, it's going to take a little bit longer, but even any content producers, newspapers, everything else, they are watching their life and their careers flash before their eyes a little bit. And I want to be optimistic, but how are you seeing all this?
It's really interesting. There's a lot of people with a lot of different opinions on this. I think Elon recently said that in the future, work is going to be optional.
Yeah, I saw
with robots, especially assisting stuff. So I think it's crazy. And I know that it sounds crazy, but like, and actually I have a different opinion. I don't think so. But whether for better or for worse, I don't think it's going to happen. like that. I think people will keep doing stuff or one way or another be forced to do stuff. I think it's a little altruistic, in my opinion, to be like, work will be optional. It's like,
Right.
why? It's like, because everyone will own a robot. It's like, well, who's going to make the robots and how much are they going to cost? Like,
Right.
I'm sure that person's not going to give away the technology or charge $1 million, and it's going to be like you have a mortgage on your robot like you have on your house. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there's a way to keep the working man working. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, that's a whole nother conversation. I think there's going to be some massive implications. I tend to like, I don't know what the main implication for, let's say, I don't think video editors are going to be out of the job. I don't think video creators are going to be out of the job. I think it's just going to look different. I was watching a video created by Sora recently, and it was actually this whole demo, and it was so fascinating to me. It was like looking at the Eiffel Tower. The film looked like super old-fashioned. The cuts were like super jittery and moving, like it was kind of like a documentary and like self-filmed, like they were grabbing someone's like home footage. There's so many interesting things. When I watched it, I was like, okay, that's cool. But then what I thought of after was like, what prompt did they use to generate this? And I just know that like me trying to recreate that video or recreate any video is going to be, okay. But I get like an actual video producer, get a videographer in there prompting this thing, and they're going to come with phenomenal prompts because they're going to be like, do this special kind of cut, make sure that the person is in this side of the frame, make sure that the lighting is this type of lighting, make sure it's golden hour, make sure it's like has a historic hue to it, like you're in back and like they're just going to do things that I would never think of doing because they already knew the tools and they already knew the techniques and styles. And it's the same thing with Midjourney. Like I do my best, but like when I generate with like Dolly is, I don't know, okay. And the problem is probably I'm just being cheap and I need to go subscribe to Midjourney to get like actual quality video or image generator. But photographers and artists create so much better art and they sell their prompts to people because I don't know what to ask it for. It's going to be the same thing with video. So I think it's interesting. I think it's exciting. I think anyone will be able to produce their own video, but I think you're still going to have these like really artistic, interesting, creative outlets. And these things are going to turn into tools for creating things. It's like anyone can create everything. Therefore, the professional is useless. It's like, no, the professionals are more useful than ever because in fact, the professional now just has the most unlimited tool set ever. And maybe you were an amazing videographer or film producer and you worked at a studio or on a set, but you never were given the chance to go and produce a film because, the cards weren't in your favor or whatever, but you had the skill set. Okay, now is your time to shine. You're going to have all the tools. So I think it's going to be, pretty exciting and those people will shine.
Yeah, no, I agree. And one of the things I was talking with some folks at Google about was they're all very focused. OpenAI is focused on this too, like on the video creators, and they're focused on, they had, I don't know, they sort of like have all these like famous filmmakers and things like that saying like, hey, here's how I use it, all that kind of stuff. And that's cool. But in our like podcast AI applied and everything, I'm thinking about like, the common man like us, right? I mean, like, what do we do with this? And I just feel like there is such an opportunity here for people to take these tools and look, we're not going to make sort of, state of the art, like phenomenal, like Martin Scorsese level films. But what we can do is just make our presentations more interesting and make communication better and just like find new ways of interacting with people that, like on our team or anything like that. Like when you see these tools, folks, like I don't want people to just see this and be like, oh, well, that's clearly for this. The whole point, and I don't like the word democratization, but I'm going to use it. The whole point of these tools getting so democratized that everybody can use them, like Midjourney, and, we don't have Sora yet, but even like text generation and everything else, is the fact that then you can use it in your workflow, whatever that looks like. So start getting creative around that. And ChatGPT can help you get creative around how to do that. So don't think of this as like, well, that's cool, but that's for somebody else. Try it. Because I mean, I think you'd be surprised. Like I now use like Midjourney images or sometimes Dolly when I'm just feeling lazy, but Midjourney, the quality is just so much better. And I use those images in, for me, like when I'm posting something or when I'm creating like new decks, slide decks for people and stuff like that, I use those images because it just like wakes people up and it helps me accomplish what I am trying to accomplish. Don't think of these things just as something in the domain of graphic artists, video designers, things like that. This is something that we're all going to be able to use. And that's sort of, to me, the big takeaway for me is like, how are you going to use it in your life? You know what I mean?
100%. I'm super excited for this. I think there's a lot of exciting potential in this. The video industry is absolutely amazing. If you enjoyed the episode today, if you learned anything new about AI and video, Connor and I would really appreciate it if you left us a review on the podcast. It means the world to us. On Spotify, you can go to the About page and leave a review. On Apple, leave us some comments, leave us a few stars. We'd appreciate it. We read all the reviews, and we hope that you have an amazing rest of your day.